And I am covered in sparkles. Hi, I'm Kate and welcome to my channel. So I had a couple palette videos in mind that I wanted to make and I put it out to Instagram, and the request ended up being a tie between summer palettes and festival palettes. So I decided to kind of put those together because I feel like there's quite a bit of crossover. When I think about summer, I'm thinking about bright, fun, bold colors. Same with makeup for festivals. So we're just gonna kind of put it together. I'm gonna call it summer palettes, but keeping in mind that like summer spans a good amount of time, means a lot of different things. So when I was looking through my collection, picking out the best summer palettes, I was thinking, what are some really bright, fun, bold colors? What are some of the types of neutrals I like to play around with for summer? So there's kind of a wide variety in here. There might be a little bit of crossover between like springy palettes and then as I get into fall palettes as well. Let's just dive right in. I'm gonna give you a few of my thoughts of why I chose some of these palettes. I might swatch a few shades as well. So let's dive in. All right, the first palette is a big one, and I've included this in a couple videos. I love this palette. This is the Abh Norvina Volume 4. It is the only one of the big Norvina palettes that I have purchased, and I love it. And I think I might have put this in the spring one too, and Valentine's Day. This is just a really versatile palette. So the reason why I put this in for summer is because of some of these really bright pinks and the yellow. Even these glitters are ones that I think are really fun. I ended up wearing this along with another palette for my wedding last summer, and I am just obsessed with it. So I feel like this is a great year-round palette, but those bright colors really make it great for summer. All right, and sticking with the same brand, I have the Abh Riviera Palette. Now, this one didn't get a lot of love. I ended up finding this at TJ Maxx, like more than 50% off, and I still really like it. I will post a few photos of looks that I've done with it, but I've gone really bright and fun. Some of these shimmers, I'm gonna go ahead and swatch some of these. All right, I feel like swatches don't really do these justice of how they look on the eyes, but this is really fun. I do wish, like I feel like this didn't need to be in here, and maybe one of these neutrals didn't need to be in there. It could have been replaced with maybe like a pretty teal matte to go along with some of these other shimmers, but I still really like this palette for summer. Next up, I have a few things from Colourpop. So I picked out a couple of the 9-pan palettes that I think would be great for summertime. So I picked out the Orange You Glad, which just has some really pretty bright orange tones, and then the Honey. So yellow is one of my favorite colors to play with on the eyes. So I like this one because it's really bright and fun. I will have some other yellow products in here as we go on. I think this performs great. I never thought I'd be into yellow eyeshadow until I tried this palette, and I love it. The other from Colourpop, I consider it a palette even though it came as singles, but it is the She's a Rainbow collection. I mean, you have everything you need for a true rainbow palette, and Colourpop's quality is pretty good. I will say if I'm going for a bright rainbow look, I'll likely pick from a few other things and kind of combine, but if you want something where it's all in one place, this is a really nice little collection. I don't love the glitters in here, and they're not my favorite of Colourpop's shimmers, but the mattes in here are really nice. All right, the next one I think of more like almost end of summer, like as it's transitioning into fall, but I have the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. And I am obsessed with this palette. I have quite a few Natasha palettes, but this is definitely my most used and an unexpected favorite. But these really pretty yellows and oranges and purples, they're just beautiful, and you can make a really beautiful sunset, sunrise eye. But again, I just really love yellows in the summer. That's kind of the neutral direction that I go in the summer, and this is a good one. All right, next up I picked a couple of my Juvia's Place palettes. So I picked up the Zulu palette and the Festival palette. So again, when I'm going like for a bright rainbow look, I will more likely grab my Juvia's Place shadows. This is the Zulu palette, so you can see just really fun, bright shades. Her shimmers are really pretty as well. Like just these two shades alone are really fun, and really the mattes are where it's at for me. And then the Festival palette is this one. I've done some really bright, bold looks with these. Again, I will swatch the shimmers and add them to my little collection here. But yeah, there's the shimmers from both of those palettes combined. So again, just really, really bright and fun. And this is a beautiful white shimmer that you can add and change up any look with. The next set of palettes I have really didn't get great reviews, but I like them for what they are, and they are the neon palettes from Huda Beauty. I will show them one at a time. So this is the pink palette, but it's really more of a purple palette. The shades in here are really beautiful. Orange palette, which is my favorite of the three. I really like the kind of sherbet orange tones in this palette. The green palette, it's not really a green palette. So of the three, this is probably my least favorite and least used. I know a lot of people really didn't like the shimmers of these, but if you go in understanding that they are more of toppers, but I will swatch a few of the shimmery toppers. Okay, so I don't know how well you're gonna see the dimension of those on camera, but they are really pretty topper shimmers. So they are not like standalone shimmers. So if you keep that in mind, I think they're really beautiful palettes. I enjoy the mattes. They do take a decent amount of building up, but it can give you a really soft neon look. It's not gonna be bright bam neon like some of the things I'll talk about in a little bit, but I still enjoy those. All right, so the next three palettes that I have are what I think of when I think of like neutrals in the summer. So I mentioned earlier kind of the yellowy toned neutrals. So I feel like this is a palette that I'll probably include it in my best for fall as well, but it's the Urban Decay Naked Honey. Now I don't like much from Urban Decay, but this one, they got it right. I love the mustardy yellow tones in here. Again, kind of makes me think of that end of summer vibes, but this is just a beautiful palette. The mattes blend together beautifully. I just love this palette. This is fantastic. Another neutral palette that I like for the summer and for different reasons is the Too Faced Sparkling Pineapple. Now this one, it smells like pineapple, so that feels very summery. It is a very basic neutral palette, like with one kind of brown to green to purple multi-chrome, but these shimmers are really stunning. So I don't know how well everything is going to swatch over my already sparkly hand, but these are some of my favorite shimmers. So I reach for this a lot, especially in the summer, because I can get a really soft neutral, but with that pop of gold or a little bit of green, that beautiful champagne, and it feels like summer because it smells like pineapple. All right, and the last like semi-neutral palette that I'm gonna share for summer is from Kaleidos, and it is the Sashimi City palette. Now this palette is one of my favorites in my collection. I grab for this pretty often, even just to grab the shimmers and put them over another look. So I have to swatch those. So they're both duochrome shimmers, and they're some of the shimmeriest things that I've used. And oh my gosh, like I have major dips in both of these shades. This is a palette that if I hit pan on those, it's one that I will buy again because I don't have any shades quite like those two. But again, kind of those summer neutral vibes. To me, you just have some slightly warmer tones without being like overly warm. So yeah, this is such a fantastic palette. All right, now this one I have to be careful with because it's completely falling apart. When I received this palette, the bottom green shade here was totally shattered. This is the ABH Collection Mini Volume 2. So this green was totally shattered and basically gone. This is new, that half of this orange is now like broken out of it. So I kind of have to clean it up a little bit because that orange has gotten everywhere now. But I still love this palette. I will post several looks that I've done with it, and it just feels super summery. You have these really bright oranges, the yellow, even those greens, the bright magenta pink. I just love this palette. It performs beautifully. I love the Norvina. I mean, I only have this one and then the big one, but both of them perform beautifully, and just these colors feel like summer to me. All right, the next palette is one that I did not intend to buy originally, but I had to finish the pair. So it is the Melt Vita palette. I just featured this on my birthday last month, so I'll post that look up here. I've done a few looks with it, mostly playing with the reds and oranges, even though like the more me shades are down here. You do get some neutrals in here. I've dipped into those a little bit, but really the oranges and reds are beautiful. I'm not a huge fan of Melt's shimmers. However, this Alegria shade is really beautiful. The green is really scratchy. It looks nice, but I don't love the texture of it. But Melt has some of the best mattes that I've ever used, especially for being bright, colorful mattes. And again, another palette that could kind of branch into fall because you have kind of those fall colors in there as well, but I think the brightness of this just makes me think summer. All right, we are down to the last two palettes. So the next one was an impulse buy at Ulta a while ago. I don't even know why I bought it because at that point I was not wearing bright colors, but I picked up the BH Cosmetics Summer in Saint-Tropez. So summer's in the title. And it's a beautiful summer palette. So I've done a few looks with this. Again, I bought this on impulse and then at a later date started playing around with it and realized how good it was. And all of the BH palettes in this size, the 16 pan square pans, fantastic. The Lost in LA is beautiful. The Blueberry Muffin, Avocado Toast, anything in this size, I love. But the shimmers in here are really pretty. A couple duochromes, just some really soft shimmers, but the mattes, again, just those really pretty, brighter, but not overly bright tones. It's really wearable for being really colorful, and I love this palette. And the last palette I have to share is what I'm wearing on my eyes today. So I am wearing the mattes from this palette on my eyes, and then I did top it off with a couple singles from Black Moxie, which is like currently one of my favorite brands. I've loved the products that they've come out with. I'm not mentioning them today. What I'm wearing on my eyes today is the Moyra Cosmetics Garden of My Mind palette. Now, if this doesn't scream summer in a palette, I don't know what does. You have such a good mix of just fun, bright colors and then some really fun neons. You have this bright yellow neon, this purple neon, this kind of orangey red neon, another orange neon, a green neon. So today I have the bright purple on the outer corner, and then I used So Pleasant through the crease, and then I buffed those out with this other orange. Yeah, this to me is like the perfect summer palette. I will go ahead and share. I think I've done probably 15 looks with this palette because when I first got it, I just couldn't put it down. But every look I've done with this palette, I've really enjoyed, and I've tried to make it a little springy too, but it really just feels like summer. So, and I'm pretty sure this was like $17. So for a 15 shade palette, it's really beautiful. This shade down here, Dearest, is this shimmery teal, which in the pan and swatched is beautiful. However, on the eye, I couldn't get that same impact on the eye. So I tried with a wet brush, with a sticky base, with a glitter primer, and I just couldn't build it up the way that I wanted it to look on the eye, but it is a really pretty shade. However, with the rest of the palette being mattes, I feel like I can really do anything with that and then go in with some of my favorite shimmers in singles. Yeah, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for watching my video about all of my favorite summer palettes. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let me know what your go-to summer palette or palettes are. I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you soon.